Imagine waking up at the first light of dawn, not to chase dreams, but to drag stones that are heavier than elephants under the upper Egyptian sun. Your sweat, the mortar of history, your pain, the price of immortality. For over 4,500 years, the pyramids of Egypt have stood in silent majesty. Yet behind their perfection lies a story of blood, toil, and tears, the forgotten human cost of one of the greatest achievements in history. 4,500 years ago, civilization was booming on the banks of the mighty Nile. Egypt, land of gods, pharaohs, and golden sands, was the superpower of its time. But beyond the shimmering temples and towering pyramids, life was never quite golden for ordinary folk. This is the untold story of the pyramid builders, the men and women whose hands carved eternity, and whose sacrifices shaped human history. The dream of eternity. The pyramids were not tombs alone in a primitive world. These were stairways to the sky, colossal bridges between mortal life and the afterlife. For Khufu, who ruled in the land of Egypt about 2500 BC, it was not merely a monument, but a way to achieve godhood, to let his soul live forever among the stars. To make this dream come true, he had tens of thousands, not hundreds, not thousands, but tens of thousands of laborers, craftsmen, haulers, and farmers working together in a way no other nation had had them work together before. Thus, one of the most ambitious construction projects in human history. Who were the builders? For centuries, the common belief was that the pyramids were built by slave labor, whipped, chained, and starved. However, this is not the case if you take archaeology into consideration. Excavations from Giza have unveiled small workers' villages, complete with bakeries, breweries, and medical clinics, even tombs for the workers themselves. They weren't just any nameless people. They were skilled laborers, farmers, and artisans, probably conscripted to serve a few months each year as part of a national duty to their pharaoh. But let's not romanticize it. The toil for a pyramid worker was beyond all imagination, the harsh reality of labor. See the dust-laden air amidst a vast desert under some relentless sun. It were quite literally thousands of workers moving massive limestone blocks weighing anywhere from 2 to 15 tons up inclined ramps. Sweat equity was most certainly involved over uneven terrain, with ropes biting into their hands. Each block took great labor to quarry, to dress, to carry from far lands and set just so. 2.3 million blocks in total for the Great Pyramid. Tools strike stone from dawn till dusk, while fine dust settles on already sweaty skin. It is hot work, and there are accidents. The record is clear. Most were sick for a long time before dying. The daily life of a worker. The horn would blow at dawn in the workers' village. Thousands would get up out of mud brick huts, take their simple tools, and march off to the colossal construction site. Breakfast, bread, onions, and a jug of beer. Not quite what we mean by the modern word, but a thick, nutritious drink that kept them going in the blistering heat of the day. Their tunics were soaked with sweat by mid-morning. Orders were barked. Teams of men, in perfect synchronization, chanted to keep rhythm, their movements dragging stones on wooden sledges. Water reduced friction. It was an orchestra of human endurance, every breath, every muscle working for a single purpose: to please the gods, to honor the king. The brutality behind the glory. The pursuit of achievement encountered several obstacles. The worker camps faced issues of overcrowding and inadequate sanitation. In the intense heat, illnesses spread rapidly. Records indicate that injuries such as fractures and infections were frequent. Healers utilized honey for its beneficial properties and linen thread for suturing, but recovery often required time, and some individuals did not make it. For every monument built, many faced considerable challenges, with their remains interred in simple graves nearby. Some were buried with basic items, recognizing their contributions. Despite these difficulties, they demonstrated resilience over the generations. Why did they endure it? You might ask. Why? Why would anyone endure such hardships for a pharaoh's tomb? The response lies in dedication and a sense of pride. The Egyptians were believers in Ma'at, the divine order, a balance between gods, nature, and mankind. To serve the pharaoh was to serve the gods themselves. To be part of something eternal, something that would stand for thousands of years, gave even the humblest laborer a sense of purpose. Their suffering wasn't meaningless, it was sacred. The ingenious engineering, despite the hardships, what they achieved was nothing short of miraculous. Without iron tools, cranes, or modern machines, they mastered engineering that still baffles scientists today. Water channels were used to level the ground. Limestone was shaped using copper chisels and dolerite pounding stones. It was all by human muscle that they schlepped millions of tons of stone. Even more mind-boggling is that they oriented the pyramids to near-perfect cardinal directions, taking the stars as their reference. Every cut, every measurement, every pull of the rope was a triumph of human skill and unity which born from sweat, not steel, food, faith, and fatigue. To keep the huge task force going, Egypt had to build a whole supply network. Near Giza, archaeologists have found ruins of enormous bakeries and breweries that could have made thousands of loaves of bread and gallons of beer every single day. They were eating the flesh of cattle, sheep, and fish. It wasn't luxury, but it was enough to keep them going. At the going down of the sun, these laborers went back to their barracks. There were fires, there was laughter, there flowed songs in the night air. A few of them even scrawled graffiti on the stones of the pyramids, perhaps boasting of their team membership. The drunkards of Menkaure, the friends of Khufu. In the very hard times, they found each other, some sort of human spirit that goes beyond time. The unseen suffering. Beneath the spirit of camaraderie, great challenges were encountered. The physical aspect of workers' toil was visible in signs of wear that their bodies bore due to years and years of strenuous labor. Diets for these workers were often nutrient deficient, thus their health was not at its best. Women and children who also reside within the workers' villages have great participation as well, since they perform many important activities that include cooking and fetching water, among others, taking care of the sick. When the Nile floods were insufficient, just as food shortages occurred, so did weakened health among the workers. Labor cannot recover strength, however, since it was sustained by strong expectations. To refuse to work was a great offense. Legacy written in stone. After years and years of labor, the Great Pyramid finally reached 481 feet in height. It was a burial place for that pharaoh, but also filled with all the things he might need on his journey to the next world. But the workers, their bodies lost in the shadow of the monument. But their real wages were eternity, not in heaven, but in history book. For when we have a look at the pyramids today, we do not only see the splendor of kings, we see an existence of mankind itself. The price of immortality. Every stone, every scar, every silent grave whispers the same truth. Greatness always comes with a price. It's not just the pharaoh's tomb, but also that of untold numbers of people who lost their lives in building them. They tell us that behind each wonder of the world, there is an unknown history of someone's sacrifice. 4,500 years later, the sands remember their names, forgotten by time, but immortal in the stones they raise toward the sky. Next time you stand in front of the Great Pyramid of Giza, or even just look at a picture of it, look beyond that grandeur. Look closer. See the calloused hands, the broken backs, the hopeful hearts that built it. For the story of the pyramids is not just the story of kings and gods, it's also of men, common souls who turned suffering into eternity. They came from dust, they bled for stone, and by this, they carved their story into the very heart of time. The pyramids are not monuments to Egypt. They are eternal proof of mankind's spirit that cannot be broken.